Katherine Pannel. Good morning, ma'am, from the State Medical Association. It is a pleasure and privilege, and I thank you for joining us this morning. How are you? Listen, I just so many things I want to talk to you about because we had you on quite a while ago, and now there are things going on too. But the first item of business this morning is how are people handling this? What's the feedback you're getting in from your office? But you're going through some safety procedures too?
Yes. We're still following all the recommendations of the State Health Department with social distancing. We're all wearing masks and disinfecting. Yes. Those patients that are emergent are coming in the office, but otherwise we're doing telepsychiatry. We're able to do appointments via the telephone.
I think sometimes I wonder how much humor is critical in this. It's almost like as far as some medicine, humor is, you got to have it during these times. But what do you want these families to know? Number one, I would think that it's not abnormal. Should they be feeling a little claustrophobia?
Oh yeah, sure. Any amount of change or any kind of like new normal is going to cause a significant amount of anxiety and even a low mood, and that is normal for what we're going through now.
So how do you handle it? What's your advice?
You got to put good, yeah. Well, you got to start with good coping skills and do things to cope. And I know right now we're all at a safer at home, but there's still many things you can do to cope. You mentioned humor, and it's true. Laughter is the best medicine. So I know I've had many a dance parties in my house with my kids, and it's true. Laughter makes you feel better. But also,
Yeah.
just because we're sheltering at home, get outside. I mean, today is beautiful. Get outside and exercise, play with your kids. Do things like fly a kite, things that just make you feel better.
Families and parents have become entertainment directors, cafeteria people, teachers, and they're ready to give away all of those jobs for a while. So family vacation this year, where we are allowed to go, is going to be most important.
Right. We may all be having a staycation this year.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful though that we're on the other side of the peak now. I think that we're going to start slowly easing back into normalcy, and I think that's important to continue to tell ourselves is that we're going to get through this.
From your perspective with the Mississippi Medical Association, we're talking to Dr. Katherine Pannel. Have the procedures put in place been okay with you? Or were there other things that you would like to see enforced, or some maybe not so much?
You know, I think with the help of the State Medical Association, Dr. Dobbs, Dr. Byers, the governor, all working together, I think that the recommendations that they've put in place have been pretty spot on. And I think that's why we have seen such a flattening of the curve.
I want to do this because this isn't a national narrative, and just as an esteemed psychiatrist, I want to bring you in on this question because Susan Rice, who's been a fixture in the Obama administration for many, many years, had an interview yesterday on CNN, and she was talking about Jared Kushner's and his involvement in this and some statements that he had made. But when you start looking at it, I wonder what's the value of a president or anybody else, the head of a household, the leader, the CEO, anybody else, using optimism, even when it's a stretch, using optimism, at least based in credibility, in reality. But here's a little bit of that interview, and just for you to comment on.
Joining us now, Susan Rice, the former National Security Advisor to President Obama. I want you, first of all, to watch and to listen what Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, senior advisor, had to say this morning about the Trump administration's response to this crisis. Listen.
The government, federal government, rose to the challenge, and this is a great success story. We released the strategy document earlier this week. It was an 8-step plan, and 7 of those steps have been completed. I think you'll see by June a lot of the country should be back to normal, and the hope is that by July the country's really rocking again.
Ambassador Rice, what's your reaction to that?
It's ridiculous, and it would be laughable if it weren't so deadly serious. I don't know how anybody with a straight face can call this a great success.
Okay, I'm not going to go into that, but the importance as a psychiatrist, the importance of optimism from the people you look up to or your leaders. To me, it would be a main ingredient on what you would want in a leader.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the key word in that whole interview was hope. We look to our leaders for comfort, for hope. They're what keep us going. They're who we look to for the most valid information. And I think continuing to relay that positive message is what's going to get us through it.
What as a parent, what's the biggest challenge that you've had?
The biggest challenge I've had is nothing's changed for me. I'm still a physician and seeing patients full time, but now, like you said, I'm wearing multiple different hats. I'm still mom, and now I'm playing teacher, housekeeper, wife. I've just got more roles. It's just hard to maintain a balance right now.
Yeah. Planning meals is something a little bit different too, isn't it?
I have to say I have been supporting my local restaurants much more during this time. We get curbside service a lot lately.
Yeah, 2 other words too. Food truck. We become reestablished with something or got to know food trucks in neighborhoods. It is a different world out there. Listen, anytime you need us, give us a call. It's always good seeing you, and thank you for using this SuperTalk TV.
Thank you.
Thank you. You got it, Dr. Katherine Pannel, State Mississippi.